Hello guys. Today we'll be giving the full rundown of the 50 richest countries in Africa 2025. Watch and share. At number 50 we have Seychelles, an island country in the Indian Ocean of East Africa with a GDP of $2.14 billion. Coming in at number 49 is Lesotho, a small landlocked country completely surrounded by South Africa, has a GDP of $2.30 billion. Moving on to number 48 we have the Gambia. It is a narrow West African country with a GDP of $2.69 billion. Occupying our 47th spot is Cape Verde. Cape Verde is an island country off the coast of West Africa having a GDP of $2.76 billion. Counting down to number 46 on the list is Central African Republic CAR. It is a landlocked country in Central Africa with a GDP of $2.82 billion. Burundi sits on number 45 on our list today. It is a small country in East Africa located in the Great Lakes region with a GDP of $3.54 billion. Progressing to number 44, we have Djibouti, a small country located in the Horn of Africa with a GDP of $4.15 billion. Sitting on number 43 on our list is Liberia. It is Africa's oldest republic country with a GDP of $4.47 billion. Next at number 42, we have Eswatini. It is a small country famous for its traditional monarch system having a GDP of $4.76 billion. Number 41 on the list is South Sudan. It is the world's youngest country, rich in oil with a GDP of $5.74 billion. Coming in at 40 is Sierra Leone, a coastal country in West Africa having a GDP of $7.15 billion. Proceeding to number 39 on our list, we have Togo. It is a West African country with a GDP of $9.65 billion. Mauritania sits on number 38 on our list. It is a largely desert country in Northwest Africa with a GDP of $10.76 billion. Counting down to number 37, we have Malawi, a landlocked country in southeastern Africa having a GDP of $10.84 billion. At number 36 is Somalia. It is a country in the Horn of Africa facing the Indian Ocean with a GDP of $11.63 billion. Equatorial Guinea occupies our 35th position. It is a small Spanish-speaking African country with a GDP of $12.73 billion. Proceeding to number 34, we have Namibia, an African country known for its dramatic deserts landscapes and has a GDP of $13.19 billion. Next at number 33 is Rwanda, a small landlocked country in East Africa having a fast-growing GDP of $13.66 billion. Moving forward to number 32 on the list, we have the Republic Congo, and the country has a GDP of $15.04 billion. At number 31 is Mauritius. It is a beautiful island country on the Indian Ocean with a GDP of $15.92 billion. Occupying our 30th spot is Madagascar, an island country located off the southeastern coast of Africa, has a GDP of $17.21 billion. Counting down to number 29 is Chad. Chad is a sovereign nation in north-central Africa having a GDP of $18.67 billion. Sitting on number 28 on the list is Niger. It is a large landlocked country located in West Africa with a GDP of $19.40 billion. Botswana takes our 27th spot. It is a landlocked country in southern Africa with a GDP of $20.15 billion. Progressing to number 26 is Gabon. A Central African country along the Atlantic coast has a GDP of $20.90 billion. Coming in at number 25 is Benin. A West African country famous for its vibrant traditions has a GDP of $21.32 billion. Number 24 on the list is Mali. It is a large country in Africa and was once home to the famous Mali Empire with a GDP of $21.86 billion. Proceeding to number 23, we have Burkina Faso, a landlocked West African country with a GDP of $22.50 billion. Counting down to number 22, we have Mozambique, an African country with a coastline along the Indian Ocean having a GDP of $23.47 billion. Number 21 on today's list is Guinea, a coastal country in West Africa rich in natural resources with a GDP of $25.79 billion. Occupying our 20th position is Zambia. It is a landlocked country in southern Africa and has a GDP of $27.22 billion. Coming in at number 19 is Sudan. It is a large country located in northeast Africa with a GDP of $29.79 billion. Next at number 18 is Senegal. The country is located in West Africa, having a GDP of $33.69 billion. Zimbabwe takes our 17th spot. Famous for its high plateau mountains, the African country has a GDP of $35.92 billion. Sitting on number 16 on our list is Libya. It is a North African country with a long Mediterranean coastline, having a GDP of $44.81 billion. At number 15, we have Tunisia. The country is located in the northernmost part of Africa with a GDP of $52.64 billion. Counting down to number 14, we have Cameroon, a Central African country with a GDP of $53.39 billion. Uganda comes in at number 13 on the list. The landlocked country in East Africa has a GDP of $58.55 billion. Moving forward to number 12 on today's list is DR Congo. It is the second largest country in Africa, having a GDP of $72.48 billion. Ghana occupies our 11th position. Famous for its rich gold resources, the country has a GDP of $75.31 billion. Sitting on number 10 is Tanzania. The East African country, known for its famous Mount Kilimanjaro, has a GDP of $79.87 billion. Next at number 9 is Ivory Coast, a West African country famous for its cocoa bean production with a GDP of $86.89 billion. Occupying our 8th spot is Angola. It is a southern African country with Portuguese colonial legacy, having a GDP of $115.67 billion. Coming in at number 7 is Kenya. Kenya is a country in East Africa with a GDP of $174.35 billion. Next at number 6 is Ethiopia. It is a landlocked country located in the Horn of Africa with a GDP of $205.83 billion. Morocco sits on number 5 on our list. The country is famous for its colorful cities and has a GDP of $253.45 billion. Number 4 on the list is Nigeria. It is Africa's most populous country, having a GDP of $364.65 billion. Moving on to number 3, we have Algeria. The North African country is the largest in Africa with a GDP of $378.28 billion. Egypt sits on number 2 on the list. The country, famous for its historical pyramids, has a GDP of $386.12 billion. And occupying our number 1 spot is South Africa. Located at the southernmost part of Africa, the country has a GDP of $403.63 billion. Let us know which country you love the most in the comment section. Also, do well to smash that beautiful red button and turn on the bell icon for more videos just like this one. See you in my next video. Goodbye.